What is up, everyone? Welcome to round 7, the finals of the Portland Monthly Premodern Paper Magic Afternoons April 2025 tournament. We got two awesome decks to show you, so let's get into those deck lists. First up, we have Marshall with White Weenie. This is, I think, one of his favorite archetypes. He's definitely brought it to monthlies in the past, and obviously doing very well for him in this one. If you're not familiar with the concept, it's about slamming lots of little creatures, powering them up with cards like Crusade, or giving them protection through Mother of Runes, and just swinging in for a boatload of damage. Running through the deck real quick, we got those 2 of Crusades, as mentioned, 2 Disenchants, 4 Swords to Plowshares, all altered in traditional Marshall Christmas style. His altars usually have some sort of Christmas theme to them. Very sweet. He's also running 2 Abolish, which is artifact and enchantment removal at instant speed for free if you discard planes. This is something a little bit about the pre-modern meta that you need to main deck 2 of those in addition to 2 Disenchants, but regardless. And 4 Curse Scrolls round off his spell suite. Real story here though is the creatures. We have 4 Soltari Priests, which have Shadow and Pro Red, 4 Soltari Monks, which have Pro Black and Shadow, 4 Whip Quarters, 4 Savannah Lions, 4 Mother of Runes, and 4 True Believers, which is really cool tech. It basically gives you Shroud, which shuts off a surprising amount of good cards, including Oath of Druids. Oh, and hiding down there, I almost missed it, he also has 3 Exalted Angels, a little bit of a late game finisher. As for lands, he has 2 Keldoran Outposts, I think I'm saying that right, 2 Mishra's Factories, and 16 Plains. Sideboard is the 3rd and 4th Crusade, 2 White Knights, the 4th Exalted Angel, the 3rd and 4th Abolish, 3rd and 4th Disenchant, 3 Tormod's Crypts, and 3 Phyrexian Furnace. Overall, a really cool list, lots of fun includes, and obviously has been doing very well for him, so I'm excited to see how it plays. But before we get to that, let's see who he's playing against. Now, if you watch the semifinals, this is obviously no surprise, but we have Wyatt on red-green Goblins. This is also a very creature-heavy, aggressive deck. It does have a bit more of a late-game plan than White Weenie, but it's still looking to get in early and fast. It does that with 4 Goblin Lackeys, which are one of the most busted creatures in Premodern, 4 Mog Fanatics, 1 Skirk Prospector, 4 Goblin Pile Drivers, 1 Goblin Tinkerer, 4 Goblin Incinerators, 1 Goblin King, which I do really like in the main, especially against a deck that's running Crusades, 4 Goblin Matrons, 1 Goblin Sharpshooter, which could be very good in this matchup, having lots of targets with 1 Toughness, 4 Goblin War Chiefs, 4 Ringleaders, and 4 Siege Gang Commanders. The deck is running green, so of course it has 2 Naturalize in the main, and then for lands, we got the 1 of Forest, which can be fetched through the 4 Wooded Foothills, the 4 Carplucent Forests, a bunch of mountains, 3 Rishadan Ports, and 2 Wastelands. Sideboard has 3 Tormod's Crypts, 3 Red Elemental Blasts, 1 Pyroblast, 1 Hull Breach, 3 Pyrokinesis, the 3rd and 4th Naturalize, Tranquil Domain, and Anarchy, which is probably coming in because that is just a very good card in this matchup. I also want to mention again, this is Wyatt's first pre-modern tournament, and he's made it to the finals, so huge congrats. No matter what happens, that's just a huge accomplishment. He has been playing Magic for a very long time, but being new to the format, it's always really cool to see. Anyways, those are the decks. Let's get into the games. And here we go. Marshall is on the left, Wyatt is on the right. And we are starting the finals of the Portland Monthly Premodern Paper Magic Afternoons monthly tournament for April. At stake is, for first place, a Phyrexian Dreadnought, I believe, which is a really sweet prize. Crazy how much those cards have gone up in value, especially now that, well, it's always kind of been viable in Legacy, but yeah. Okay, looks like Marshall is going to be mulliganing here. Wyatt will be keeping, and we're going to cut to when Marshall has a keepable hand. All right, unfortunately, Marshall mulliganing to 5 here. Did not have a keepable 6. We'll see if he can get a better hand. Lands and spells and creatures. That's all this deck really needs. Can it find it? I feel like you kind of have to keep whatever 5 you have here. All right, he's going to put a Disenchant and something else back. And we are ready to start the game. All right, Wyatt's going to start us off the traditional Goblins way. Mountain Goblin Lackey go. There's a Plains. And Wyatt just assuming there's a Swords happening. It will happen there. The timing for that is important. All right, there's a Mog Fanatic and a Mog Fanatic. Here we go. Okay, yeah. True Believer gives Martial Shroud. I was gonna say, if Marshall throws down a pro-red creature, this could be quite the race. His only pro-red creatures in the main, though, do have Shadow, so they can't block. Alright, I'm gonna get in for 2. No blocks from the Goblins. And Marshall just reminding him to update the dice. There's a Mishra's Factory. And tap 3 for a Morph. Pass to you. Give those Mog Fanatics a target. I don't think there's any way Wyatt lets this flip. I think Marshall might be hoping that Wyatt doesn't know Exalted Angel is a creature in this format. And one of the best creatures in this format. He has another Plains. And he can flip this Angel at any time, choosing not to here. Instead, playing out a Crusade. Looks like that will resolve. Marshall deciding here if he wants to animate his Mishra's Factory. And nope, is just going to swing for 6. Why going to take it down to 13? Oh wait, no, the Morph isn't a white creature, duh. Yeah. Only taking 5. But still, that life total should be a little lower. Okay, we're going to animate the factory here. Attempt to block the Mog Fanatic. And, like I mentioned, Wyatt hasn't played in a minute. Nope, can't shoot the... Okay, he's going to shoot the True Believer. I believe that's what's happening. Alright, we have a Siege Gang Commander. A little confused as to what happened there. I think Wyatt not realizing, like I said, it's been a minute since he played that, played Premodern at least, or with Mog Fanatics, that you can't do the old Mog Fanatic trick of damage going on the stack, where you're able to deal damage with Mog Fanatic and then sack it to also deal damage. It does make Mog Fanatic a lot worse. But should have pointed damage at Marshall, and I'm not sure that happened. Instead, pointing at the True Believer, but that Mog Fanatic can point it anywhere. Alright, factory being animated here, swinging in with everything. Choosing to not flip this Angel is a very interesting call. It makes me think it's not an Angel. Is it a Whip Quarter? Right? Whip Quarters have Morph? I don't know. I've never played a Whip Quarter for its Morph. Alright, we're going to play another Morph. Say go. That actually makes me very curious. Does Whip Quarter have Morph? I play Whip Quarter. I don't think I've ever casted for that. Yes, it does have Morph. So that is an option. I guess, you know, you play it as a dummy for an Angel. Alright, Wyatt's down to 10. There's a ringleader. It's gonna find just a Gem Palm Incinerator. But now he has an answer to an Exalted Angel. And both players know it. And we are gonna try and target the second Morph creature, which is an Exalted Angel. Okay, that makes me think that the first one is in fact a Whip Quarter. Alright, and we're going to swing for just 4? Or 5, 6? 5. Okay, swinging for 5. Pass to Wyatt. Or pass to Marshall, sorry. I'm mixing up their names. I haven't written down. I know who both of these players. Alright, animating the factory, swinging in for 6 total. I'm going to chump block here, it looks like. Or for 7 total, sorry. The True Believer gets buffed up by the Crusade. Both the Morph and the Mishra's Factory are colorless. And then there's a Swords for the Siege Gang. Gain 2, back up to 10. Pass to you. How about another siege gang? Seems good. And we're gonna shoot that other, or we're gonna flip it up. Is a whip quarter. I see what Marshall's plan was there. All right, and then gonna ping the whip quarter because it already has 2 damage marked on it. Swing in for 2. Marshall down to 12. Pile driver in hand for Wyatt. I think that's his only card in hand. Okay, we're gonna swing in for 5 here. Do you chump block or do you take the Mishra's Factory out? Looks like he's gonna try and double block the Mishra's Factory. Is that the call? Wyatt is hemorrhaging life here. He is deciding he needs to block. And we'll take 3. Go to 7. And there's some other runes. If that mom stays on the field, that will be a problem. There's the wasteland for the factory. I'm surprised that wasteland stuck around that long, but I guess wanting to activate the siege gang was enough. Okay, we're gonna play pile driver. Play lackey. Sack the token to kill the mom. And then swing in for 4 total. And we have an old-fashioned race here. Let's see if Marshall can keep up. A bit behind now, thanks to that second siege gang commander. Just making so much value. Alright, there's a Kaldoran outpost. Well, I can have a read there. Bit of a odd card for sure. I'm not sold on having it in a deck that can be a little hungry on white pips. But obviously seems to be working fairly well. At the very least, it does make blockers for goblins. Okay, we're gonna see a goblin matron here. What do we find? Do you just find another siege gang commander? Force the block on the lackey? Or is he grabbing something different? Goblin King. Okay. Really gonna be pushing damage through. I do like the Goblin King, like I mentioned in the deck tech. This is a good answer to a Crusade. Okay, we're swinging in for a boatload. Pile driver will get +4 here. +1 from the Goblin King. Marshall will make a 1/1, but it is actually a 2/2. It is a white creature, I believe. Thanks to Crusade gets that +1. So yeah, he'll have to block the pile driver with the True Believer to kill it. And then this is just a straight up trade. No, that's right. Because Marshall has Crusade. Yep. Straight up trade across the board. Just take 2. And Marshall needing Mother Runes is pretty good. If it can stick around, that Siege Gang commander probably means it's not. And we're just going to shoot all to the face, and that is going to be game number 1. Alright, here we are in game number 2. I was getting a little too bogged down in the intricacies of creature combat and just forgot that Siege Gang can shoot for lethal. A bit hard to deal with that, unfortunately. Alright, both players bringing in sideboard cards. Notably, the white deck does not have COP red. Marshall indexing a lot on Graveyard Hate, I think having 6 slots devoted to it. Not so much in a way of removal for red. He has some white knights, which are not perfect, but will do the job if he decides to bring them in. First strike is still a very relevant key word, I would say, in this matchup. And we'll see if White can get a keepable 6 here. I'm not sure what he brings in from the side, actually. I think maybe Marshall brings in the extra Crusades. Alright, there's a Mom. That does demand a pretty fast answer. Wyatt having no turn 1 play here, though. Alright, tap in 2. And there's a Soltari Priest. Pro-red Shadow. So it can't block, but at the very least, it can't be targeted by any red damage, any Gem Palm Incinerators, basically, or Monk Fanatics. Alright, fetching for a mountain here. And pass, but is going to be tapping down a plane. So a very slow start on Wyatt's side. Marshall leading the charge here with the 2-1 Soltari Priest. And then he did bring in the White Knights. Those, like I said, first strike is a very relevant keyword. It does have pro black, which is not relevant, but the first strike is very relevant. It's almost relevant to the point where I would put in the main. I don't know. Either some form of Silver Knights or White Knights. We do tend to have a lot of players playing black here. Wyatt again tapping down a land, not having anything to do on turn 3. And swinging in for 4. Wyatt already down to 13. Alright, tapping 1 for a Curse Scroll. Another one for a Savannah Lions and a land. Say go. Oh, is that an Anarchy? I missed that. Wyatt has Anarchy and a boatload of targets. Say goodbye to all your white permanents. Marshall overextending, and the one of Anarchy from the sideboard just demolishing him. He does have a Curse Scroll out, so he can try and stem the tide of Goblin creatures, but that's, yeah, there's a Crusade, the sack, Gildoran Outpost. Alright, so he can slowly start generating creatures, but that is going to be rough. Alright, there's a War Chief. Gonna get in for 2. Gonna make a blocker and attempt to, yep, jump block. Pass to you. Tap the outpost, but he will make a 2-2 in response. And I'm actually starting to turn around a little bit on Gildoran Outpost. With Crusade, is actually not bad for functionally 3 mana, because you have to tap the outpost land to do it. You get a 2-2. That's not awful. Okay, here's a Goblin Matron. Maybe there is a world where Marshall is actually able to claw back into this match just off the back of the outpost. Now, Wyatt does have Wastelands, so drawing a Wasteland would be huge. Alright, we're going to attempt to port the outpost. And instead of making, I think you just want to make a 2-2, right? He's looking at maybe using this Curse Scroll. Okay, no, just gonna make it 2-2 instead. I think that's the right call. You have your army in a can, you might as well be playing it out as much as possible. It takes a lot of work for a Goblin to get bigger than a 2-2. And if you draw another Crusade, you're in the money. Alright, a lot of lands here for Wyatt. He is maybe getting a bit flooded He's going to fetch here, try and slim it down a bit. Grab another mountain. Has double green backup, so it doesn't need a forest here. Although having a naturalize for this Crusade or a Cursed Scroll would be pretty good. At this point, I think the Crusade is a little bit more dangerous. Alright, tapping for a ringleader. Oh, there's the 2 naturalizes he needed, and a pyrokinesis. Actually missing on the ringleader. One of the downsides of sideboarding in all of these spells is it does make the ringleaders a bit worse. Almost to the point where I think you at least take out 1 ringleader. Okay, there's a Gem Palm Incinerator on the untapped token. In response, swords. One of your creatures, so Gem Palm no longer deals lethal damage. And there's a Wasteland. Well, I did already play a land this turn, I'm pretty sure. He's counting, just trying to make sure. So next turn, can take care of the outpost. Still, having gotten potentially up to 3 creatures off of the outpost, that's pretty good. Okay, we're going to chump block here, just take 2. There's another Cursed Scroll. Pass to you. Alright. Oh, does he not have a Wasteland? I thought he did. Was it just another Rashawn port? Huh. Okay. There's a Siege Gang Commander. In response to the commander trigger, activate the Cursed Scroll. And yeah, Siege Gang will just sack itself in response. While admiring Cursed Scroll, I think this might be the first time he's encountered it. Again, very new to the Premodern format. And yes, he does still get his tokens. That is a good call. I almost forgot that. So he has a little bit of blockers. He has a little bit more runway to work with. All right, 2 for the Whip Quarter. There you go. Deciding to not play it as Morph this time. Alright, Rashawn Port. Plays out a Ringleader. Let's see if we can get a better hit this time. There's a Gem Palm Incinerator, a Lackey, and a Goblin King. That is a much better hit. For sure. Alright, probably playing out the Goblin King here. It is an immediate target for that scroll. Alright, we're going to Gem Palm Incinerate first. Kill the Whip Quarter. Draw a card. Okay, there's another Lackey. Do you just go Lackey, Lackey? Looks like that will be the play. No, not playing the Lackey. Okay. Just playing 1. He's going to try and port down the outpost in Marshall's upkeep. We'll make another soldier. And Marshall's going to pass. Not getting aggressive here, which I guess makes sense. Having a Lackey on the field. Can't activate your Cursed Scroll currently. Okay, we're going to Goblin Matron here. See if we can find something good. Goblin Tinkerer is not the ideal answer, maybe. No, actually, Goblin Tinkerer would be perfect. It's a 1/2. I keep forgetting that. It's not a 1/1, so you could actually use it to kill Cursed Scrolls, but we're grabbing a Gem Palm Incinerator. And then Gem Palm one of the tokens to draw a card. Was that a wasteland? Yes, that is a wasteland. Can't play it out this turn. Or did he play land this turn? That is the question. I don't remember either, chat. If anyone wants to rewatch and double check. But that is going to be a very relevant point in this game. Okay, we're going to wasteland the outpost. Go to combat, swing with everything. Of course, Marshall is going to block the lackey, but we'll take 5. And first damage this game being done. And Marshall is going to unfortunately have to double tap those white sources. This is the... Yeah. This is kind of the decision point. Does Marshall want to gamble on the curse scroll? Looks like he does not. He's rather just going to pay 1 for a Mother of Runes. And just going to pass back. All right, I think at this point now, Wyatt is in the driver's seat. What can he do with it? He's got a Goblin Matron in hand. All right, we are going to cast it. What do we find? We find the 4th Gem Palm Incinerator, or the Mom. I think that's probably the call. Also pulling a Siege Gang Commander. That's another good option. Unfortunately, can't cast it and activate this turn. Oh, and Marshall actually just decided to scoop here, realizing that he is probably out of this game, and that is actually just going to be the finals of the April Premodern Monthly. Okay, I rewatched the footage with volume cranked way up, which is not something I normally do, but I wanted to hear what the players were talking about when Marshall conceded. Turns out he actually thought they were in game 3, not game 2, and I think he was just trying to battle out from a losing position and decided that it was not worth it. Anyways, huge congrats to Wyatt for taking it down. This again was his first Premodern tournament, and he won with red-green Goblins, which I don't think I mentioned, but is actually a deck I loaned him. He hadn't really practiced with it much. He's played a ton of Goblins in the past, Legacy, that sort of thing, but first time piloting Premodern red-green Goblins. So huge congrats to him. Thanks to all you guys for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe. That is the best way to support the channel. Lets YouTube know you guys enjoy the content. If you would like to support the channel financially, you may notice all these wonderful people on screen currently. These are all my current patrons. You guys rock. There is a link in the video description as well as the link that's displayed on screen. If you would like to join them, it is not necessary, but it does help with producing videos, travel expenses to go to different states, different tournaments, and also just upgrading gear so I can provide better quality videos. Thanks to all you guys for watching, and I'll catch you next time.